if I'm coming or going.
Yeah.
And he says, Lord, I need you to do some things for me if I'm to make it out of chapter 19.
Wow.
And he begins to describe God literally cleansing his slate. Watch this, watch this. It's crazy because when you look at the B part, watch this. He says, here's what God will do. And think about it, he's writing and expressing the character of God and the nature of God. He's expressing that through a song. And he says, when I can't figure out if I'm coming or going, in verse 12, he says, here is what the Lord would do for you in the B part of verse 12. Watch it. And notice what he begins to write is not any action of David, but it's all God acting on David's part. And sometimes, watch this, in our lives, it's not what you can do for yourself, but really it's what God does, and it's him acting on our behalf. When nobody else, which I had, when nobody else is willing, when nobody else has a desire, when they take their hands off of you, when they put that long spoon between you and them and say, I want no dealings with you, God, I wish I had somebody, steps in, and David says in the B part of verse 12, cleanse thou me from my secret faults. What will God do for you? Watch this. He wants to clean your slate. So watch what he does. Here's what he does. Watch this. Here is what God does to clean your slate. This is crazy. When I read this, it was just crazy. He cleanses me of my secret faults. Come on, now watch this. Say neighbor. That's in the text. But y'all still, some of y'all don't even look at your Bible and see if what I'm saying is true. But he says, he cleansed me from my secret faults. David is admitting, one, I do have fault. Y'all just missed that. He's admitting, I have my faults. Do I have a witness here? But then he's admitting that I have some faults that y'all don't know about. I wish I had somebody. I know y'all got on your church look today, but he says, not only do I have my faults, but then he says, I've got some things going on in my life that nobody knows about. Do I have a witness here? And the thing that you got to realize about secret faults is that though nobody else knows about it, it does affect you spiritually. It affects how you walk and it affects how you talk. And we've got to realize this one principle, that secret sin on earth is really open scandal in heaven. Even though the pastor may not know about it, Jesus knows about it. Even though, I wish I had a witness here, even though the church members may not know about it, every angel in heaven knows it. Well, better watch this. They know all about it. And it is our secret thoughts that we have kept behind closed doors that somehow creep out into our character. And it has gone on for so long that it becomes our nature. And when it becomes our nature, it begins to affect us in relationship. And when it begins to affect us in relationship, nobody wants to deal with you no more. And that's all I'm really trying to say, is that there came a point in time, even in David's life, when nobody wanted to deal with him. Oh, y'all looking at me funny. And some of you are sitting here this morning and you know nobody wants to deal with you. So you got to go out and make new friends. Wish I had a witness. You got to go find a new boyfriend because you didn't. You got to go find a new girlfriend because you done messed that thing up so bad. She won't give you the time of day. You texting, calling, email. You want to bring them stalking. Because don't nobody want to deal with you no more. And I don't know if you've ever been in that place. I know some of you are too righteous for all of that. But I don't know if you've ever been in that place before when nobody wants to deal with you. You were just that foul. You were saved and just that foul. A member of Sunday school. And just that. And people can't figure out, if you're a member of Sunday school, how can you be so? But yet you were just that. So rather than stop to deal with yourself, you find somebody else that you can fool for just a little bit longer. You were 60 days with her. Come on here. You may be able to do 90 days with the next one before she finds you out. And he or she is not willing to clean the slate because you were just that. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's the place David is in. He's saying, Lord, listen, I need you to cleanse me of my secret. Do I have a witness here? Yes, sir. He says, cleanse me from my secret faults that have affected me in my character. And has permeated and come out in my nature. And it coming out in my nature has affected me in relationship. And now nobody wants to deal with me but you. I got it. I've been in that place. The only one that wants to deal with you is God. I know some of y'all are too Baptist and too holy. But you ever been in that place where the only person that wants to deal with you is God? And David says, what he does with my secret faults, watch this. Watch this. And he's willing to do something that nobody else in most cases was willing to do. After you fouled them up, after you messed them up, he's willing to do something that nobody else more than likely is willing to do in your life. David says, he declares me innocent from my hidden faults. Y'all just missed that. You just missed that. That didn't go right over your head. Think of the, watch this. Try to go back home, and that person you done messed up, you done cursed them out, from the rooter to the tutor. You done stole their money. You done got a hold of some personal property and went and hopped it.
Come on, Pastor. Talk about it. Talk about it. Come on now.
You done molested their little girl.
Come on, Pastor.
You done pawned their car. Somebody say, trifle. Tap somebody and say, have you been that trifle? Watch this. That if you were to try to just text them, you discover that they didn't block you. Y'all, I know it may sound funny, but what I'm trying to tell you, this is real. Because there's one, watch this, who will not block you. David says what he does something that nobody else will do for you more than I do. He says, he declares me innocent of even my hidden faults. Your wife won't even do that. Your daddy don't even want you coming back to the house. Your children that you had from another woman don't even want to deal with you because you've just been trifling.
Right. Come on, Pastor.
And you need a clean slate.
Yes, sir.
Because if God doesn't give it to nobody else. Yeah. David said, watch this. The first thing he does for me, man, he said, David said, I have been trifling. But he says, he declares me innocent of my hidden faults.
Thank you, Jesus.
My sin.
Oh, God.
My sin.
Thank you.
Watch this. Is there anybody in the house? Don't raise your hand, but you know you were just that trifling. Came to church today. You were trifling back at the other church. And it's not about going from relationship to relationship, from man to man, from woman to woman, from church to church, from job to job, from friend to friend. It's about stopping to say, God, I've been trifling, I've been foul, I've messed up so much in my life, and God, if you don't give me a clean slate,
Have mercy. Have mercy.
I can't even imagine what will happen next. The Lord told me to tell you, if you're willing, if you need Him to, He'll cleanse you from your sin. Well, I don't know if that was for somebody, but I'm going to say this, and I'm going to clap my hands and say, Lord, thank you. Thank you, God.
Thank you,
Lord. Because it's my secret faults that affect me yet even openly. I see. He said, that's the first thing. Now this next thing, really, I imagine, here's what I'm telling you, God, the Lord didn't give this to me until this morning. And most of you know that I don't even operate that way. I don't even operate this way, but he just I had brain freeze, man. And he said, somebody is going to show up here and I'm going to give them something. And nobody else is willing to give them. That means all that secret stuff you've been doing, he says, I'll declare you his. I'll declare you his. Now watch the second thing. It's right here in the text. When you read verse 13, read it carefully. He says, keep back thy servant also from presumptuous sins. But y'all see that? Yes, sir. Mm-hmm. Now, in verse 13, he talks about secret sins or secret faults. But now he talks about, in verse 13, presumptuous sin.
Yes, sir.
Watch this. But now notice, he says, keep back thy servant from presumptuous sin. Not only will he cleanse your faults, your secret faults, but watch this. He says, you need a clean slate. God puts a barrier between me and my easy sin.
Yes, sir.
He says, keep back thy servant. Have you ever wanted to do something so bad and it's really easy to do? That's what makes you want to do it so bad. Watch this. But then somehow and some way he just goes to block you. Come here, real quick. He just goes to block. Come here. He just goes to block. You know what's over there. I can get back. I can accomplish that. Then he just block. Oh man, I'm going around now. Woo! Y'all hear me? You said hi. And he created some circumstances. The text says, keep thy servant back. That's when you go after it. I try to accomplish this thing. Now watch this. He says, I'm not going to let you get yourself in the mess you got yourself in before. Y'all don't hear me? We'll have a witness here. And so every time I try to make my way to the gamma casino, because he knows that I will spend my mortgage. Y'all just missed that. Every time I get around my friends and all they doing is smoking weed, he knows every time I get weed in me. Y'all just missed that. Do I have a witness here? He knows that every time I get around my buddies and we start checking out the women, I end up messing He said, keep thy servant back from presumptuous sin. Those are sins we become arrogant about. Those are sins that we become comfortable with. Those are sins that are just done deliberately. Watch this. Those are things that we take liberty. We take liberty. It's so easy that we just take the liberty. Watch this. You know, let me see if I can explain it. You remember, because when we are involved in presumptuous sin, that's different from being overtaken by a sin.